happened?
I have no idea. I mean, I was very excited to have Rena up on stage. Sorry about that, Rena. I don't know what happened.
All right, we gotta look into that.
The event setup? Boy, that was strange. Was it a second person on stage thing?
It might have
Yeah,
been.
but I think so. But that should have not happened.
Yeah. Oh, man. Live audio, everybody.
Happy Sunday.
Good morning.
Good morning. Rohan, Anu, how are you doing?
Hanging in there.
Doing well. Everybody have their morning drinks?
I only have some water. I think I need some coffee, too. I think Amanda's going to drink it was like 9 o'clock. I'm like, oh no, Townhall's in like now. Amanda, can you please bring my coffee? We got a lot of announcements today. We got a lot to get through, right?
Yeah, a ton. Let's see what we can do today.
All right. Anu, you think we're going to need some more questions?
Probably. Yeah. I will double them as we go. Don't worry.
Thank you, Amanda. All right. Let's get going. Welcome, everybody, to our Sunday Town Hall special. Done is finally out edition, where we talk about what we're building, and we celebrate conversations and people from the community, and we talk about, we basically do any announcements, what we built this past week, what's coming up next week, and we spend most of the time on your questions. We try and keep it to 1 hour, so that everyone can get on with their days. And like I said, we got a lot of stuff that we want to cover today, so it should be a fun one. Before we get started, I just want to say a quick something to everyone in the path or the potential path of Hurricane Ida. By design, we try and keep these weekly town halls light and fast moving, but whenever there is a tragedy or an impending disaster, we're always reminded of how fortunate we all are and how nice it is that people on the platform are here to step up for each other, to share, to listen, to help each other out. And so to everyone in New Orleans and beyond, just please be safe, and please know that the entire Clubhouse community is thinking about you and your friends and your family, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of conversations about related to that. That's really all I wanted to say to start, but Steph would love to come up and just talk about a little bit of what's happening in the community this past week, and we'll take it from there. I think I see Steph's hat in the audience.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Hey, Steph.
First things first, I want to say a big, huge congratulations to all the smart, talented, funny, thoughtful, and just generally wonderful people in our Creator First program. After months of hustling these hallways and fine-tuning those shows, creating some really powerful communities, conversations, and experiences, the whole class got together for a Creator First Look showcase to properly introduce them to top thinkers and doers from global brands and agencies. We were joined by execs from L'Oreal, CAA, and Time to also give their perspective on partnering with creators. It was really just a great room, and I loved getting to hear all the show's pitches as they've kind of wrapping up their season finale. This next week is the season finale episodes of the program, but this is very much just the beginning for all these incredible creators. So please, everyone, join me in a big congratulations to them.
A labor of love. It's been so amazing to see everything that's gone into that and everything that's come out of that over the past few months.
More to come. Like I said, I think everyone has really found a rhythm, and it's going to be great. Some more good news. We were super happy to see Ben Dietz and Jeff Carvalho and Ruba and the Culture Club crew return to the house after the summer break. This was one of our sort of OG places together. It was a great combo on independent fashion labels this week, so can't wait to see what's coming up next for them. By the way, Paul, Rohan, Anu, I don't know if you guys have been seeing in sort of advertising news, but Ruba, who's the new creative director at Tiffany, she has been killing it with all the Tiffany ads lately with Beyonce and Jay-Z, and it's just some really beautiful things. So shout out to
I haven't seen that. That's amazing.
Oh,
Looking it up now.
Yeah, look it up now. They're amazing. Well done, Ruba. Okay, another hard week in Afghanistan. There were several extremely emotional rooms in the aftermath of the Kabul airport bombing, including a room hosted by Piotr Kurzin and Simon Bothorf. I think they navigated a particularly difficult room with Grace, that was in the Geopolitics Club. Justin Higgins worked with serious speed to pull together a live stream and reaction room for President Biden's speech. He brought Aaron David Miller, who has served as a State Department Middle East analyst for multiple administrations, and really unpacked what he said. Paul, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Aaron David Miller was so impressive, and I loved what he said as he closed it. Yeah, as he closed it, he said, he loves coming to this Clubhouse, and he loves coming to Justin's rooms because it feels like such an antidote to argue culture in Washington, and I love that.
I absolutely heard that, and it was
All right, thanks to Yuri Fukuya, who hosted a discussion between a group of Japanese authors across disciplines discussing how they approach writing and sharing advice for aspiring writers. The room included popular authors like Ken Honda, Yayoi Aguma, Takumi Yamasaki, and Saun Takeda. Our international team was telling me all about it. It sounds like it was a great conversation. I sort of skipped, but one other live moment that was really amazing this week was the Small Steps and Giant Leaps Club held a watch party for the Astra rocket test flight. This club is awesome. If you're not a part of it, check it out.
The club is prolific. They're awesome.
Prolific.
I've been in so many of those rooms. Yeah, they're great.
They have a very robust daily programming schedule of all kinds of topics about space funding, to health and science, the African space industry, building on Mars, women in the industry. Super cool. So check it out. Big shout out to all the foodie chatter in the hallways this week. Sorry, not foodie. Footy. Come on. My English husband would be so mad at me right now. I know. I'm not being
honorary.
Footy.
Honorary.
Yeah. To all the footy chatter this week in the hallways. Love seeing the Man United room celebrating Cristiano Ronaldo's return as the Man City fans groaning. Like, it really felt like you could hear like the groans and the moans across the hallway in the different rooms. And then of course the Chelsea fans were just sighing relief that he didn't get signed by Man City. That was from Ashwin. One thing I think Clubhouse does so well is take a seemingly niche topic and make it really interesting and accessible to people who would never otherwise have heard about it. Perfect example is a conversation held by Filming While Black. They had the SAG after elections this week. Again, I wouldn't ever know that was a thing that was either relevant to my life. However, it was really important to improving the way we tell stories. And so we had Cheryl Lee Ralph, who stopped by and helped explain that, what's at stake, and thanks to her for that. We had the ... Club, always a favorite on this team. Paul, I know you're a big fan of that one.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah, took on the subject of cults and asked the big question: should this be considered a public health crisis? If you've watched some of the documentary series that have come out exposing cults over the last decade, including The Vow on HBO, you're aware of how important this dark subject is. We were joined by Sarah Edmondson, the whistleblower for NXIVM. She was actually in the room for the discussion with Lori Segal, so thank you, Lori, for always hosting an incredible room. Last but not least, this week we wanted to do a special mention of the daily crypto rooms hosted by Rashmi Padi and the All India Startups Club. They've done more than 75 episodes so far and cover an interesting range of topics from NFTs, cryptocurrency, DeFi, and interviews of crypto experts. If you're interested in the world of crypto, give them a follow. All right, guys. That's it this week.
Steph, you did a good job getting through all of that. I was like, I know there are a lot of highlights and stuff.
Fast.
That was good. Amazing.
Yes.
All right. So after a few weeks of relative calm, we've got a few pieces of news today. So excited to get into that. Want to start off just by echoing like a big thank you to you, Steph, for all you did for the Creator First program, but I think more importantly to all the participants of the inaugural Creator First program. I mean, the shows were just amazing and incredibly creative, and that goes without saying. But beyond that, the time that this whole group took earlier this week to present to brands and the exceptionally hard work that they put into the rooms, the that they shared with the broader Clubhouse community, and the feedback that they've given to other creators, to the community, to our team about what types of resources are useful to them. It's been an amazing learning experience, and I think there's just no question in our mind that future iterations for Creator First, whether that's here in the U.S. and India and other countries around the world, are going to be so much better because of this experience and because of the insights and the feedback that were shared through this. So just a huge thank you to everyone involved in that effort. Speaking of resources for creators, also wanted to highlight a new creator resource that Anu and a big chunk of the team has spent a lot of hours building, and they launched this week. And we call it the Creator Commons. You can find it at creators.clubhouse.com. And it's a living resource, open and available to everyone, designed to help creators plan and level up their efforts on Clubhouse. We're going to continue to update it, continue adding to it, adding more best practices so that creators can always know where to go to get guidance. If you're new to Clubhouse, it's a new medium. It's a whole new set of formats, and it's hard to know how to get started. And so we always say our job is to give you all of the resources that you need to host great shows, host great rooms, build great communities, and grow them over time. We're doing a lot of work on the product front to help you reliably grow your audience and build your community over time. But we also want to have offline resources like this, educational resources like this, to help you know where to go. And there's also my favorite part of the whole thing is there are these sound bites from the diverse and talented, incredible group of creators on Clubhouse. So you can go to, I think it's called Sound Bites, and there are a bunch of clips of them talking and sharing their thoughts on best practices.
That's my favorite part too.
I know, so cool, right? Anu, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know this has been a labor of love. You've been driving all this work here. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about?
Honestly, just big shout out. We don't come up with the stuff from scratch. We've been seeing, what the best creators, what the best moderators, what the best clubs have been doing over the past, year and 4 or 5 months now. So, a lot of this was curated. Yeah, a lot of this was curated by the insights of our team and everybody on the team, but also from great creators and members of the community. So I think some of that is highlighted particularly in the sound bites, which I also love. And we're also going to be sharing some templates that others can use to hopefully create their own sound bites. So that's a little sneak peek for something coming up.
That's amazing. Well done. I'm really excited that we have that up there. It's again at creators.clubhouse.com. Okay, next thing I wanted to cover, speaking of the latest and greatest on Clubhouse, I'm really excited to announce a new feature that we are building into Clubhouse. Compliments of the brilliant Justin Newberry on our team. One thing that I always say, and Anu and Sephiron mock me for saying this all the time, but a really big part of the magic of Clubhouse, of what makes the experience so great here, is voice. Voice, it is the oldest, most natural form of human communication.
There we go. Right.
Cue the violence, please.
Clockwork.
It's true. It's really amazing and powerful. And we think about audio a lot, right? So one thing we're always talking about internally is how can we improve the audio quality for speakers and for listeners and make the experience of being in a room more immersive. And so today we're really excited to announce that we're beginning the rollout of spatial audio on Clubhouse. So spatial audio, if you don't know what it is, it's like a type of 3D audio that is designed to make you feel more immersed in a room by making the speakers sound like they are spaced throughout the room. It's kind of like 3D surround sound for audio. And it makes conversations feel more natural. In subtle ways, it makes them less cognitively demanding because your brain can pick up on sort of the spatial cues, and it makes it easier for you to track who's talking and when the conversation shifts to another speaker, because it'll shift to a different part of different place in space when your brain is perceiving it. And so what it means is that you're going to hear and process voices on Clubhouse more similarly to the way that you would in a physical room. And just from testing it internally, I can tell you the impact, especially in rooms with a lot of different speakers, can be very dramatic. It's going to work on wired headphones. It's going to work on Bluetooth headphones, including AirPods. We're going to roll it out first on iOS just to make sure that people like it and make sure there are no major issues. And barring any major issues, we're going to roll it out to iOS and Android users very soon. So it's going to start rolling out right now, and it should be live to we were debating this morning how we ramp it up from 1% to 10% to 90% to 100%. But if you update to the latest version of the app, it should probably work for a large percentage of you now. And if not, keep an eye out for it later in the day. And again, barring any major issues, we'll be rolling it out to everyone, iOS and Android, over the next couple weeks. And we're just really excited to see what the community is going to do with it. I mean, laughter and applause, it's going to sound like it's coming from all directions, like it would in a real club. Singer-songwriter showcases are going to have this rich stereo soundstage. Comedy shows will feel more like comedy shows. And,
I feel like the first time you hear it, you're like looking around the room almost. Like it really makes your brain dot around. It's pretty great. Great.
I know Gray was saying he's really excited for ghost stories. I am too. Like the poltergeist can move around the audience or creep up and whisper in your left ear. It's really, really cool. And the way it's going to roll out is it'll be enabled by default, but you'll be able to disable it in the settings if for whatever reason you don't like it. And just to geek out for a second, like the way that it works, if you're, if you have some knowledge of this stuff, if you're so inclined, the first thing it does is it assigns a specific spatial position to each speaker in the room. So we can program it to be the way we want to do it, but we can make it mirror the way people are on the stage. We can do it in a semicircle. We can do it all sorts of different ways, but it assigns a specific spatial position to each speaker in the room. That's the important part. And it evenly, the way we have it set up, it evenly distributes the speakers according to the room size, so that it's as intelligible as possible. It analyzes each of the audio streams and tweaks them to ensure that the speakers are all well balanced and it feels coherent as a group. And then it applies an HRTF to each stream to make the audio for that speaker feel like it's coming from the aforementioned position. And then over time, one thing that we noticed is that if one person is talking for a long period of time and they're over to your left or over to your right, that's a little unsatisfying because it feels like you lose the stereo effect. So what we do is we subtly rotate that speaker towards the center so that it has more of a stereo effect in a very slow, gradual way over time if one person is talking for a while. We'll tune it a lot, so this is just the first version, but the idea is that it means a big leveling up for your listening experience, and we think you're going to like it. So get the latest version of the app. We're going to do this one first on iOS and roll it out to Android. There are other features that we're building that we're doing Android first, and then we're rolling out to iOS. We just like to move really fast, and oftentimes shipping first in one platform lets us quickly learn, tune, and then roll out on the other platforms. So just know that it goes both ways.
Shout out again to Justin on this one.
Yeah. Justin was like doing he was doing product design, product management, business development, legal work, all of the engineering work. He did everything for it. It was awesome.
Tested so many versions with the team. It's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the first thing we wanted to mention: spatial audio. What are other fun things we wanted to mention? Oh, speaking of leveling up, as summer concludes, we just seen all these new people joining, and I think in May we said we saw an average of 300,000 rooms created daily here on the app, and today that number's risen to more than 700,000 rooms created each day, and it just speaks to the continued diversification of the community, right? It's just we're seeing creators breaking new grounds in all types of different rooms, all different parts of the world. Clubs, in social rooms, they're talking about sports and breaking news and relationships and, of course, comedy. And it's just been really exciting to see, and much more to come. And the last thing I wanted to mention
You're
drum
a
roll,
fucking
please,
retard.
before we get
Paul.
into product today.
What a
Final piece
retard.
of news.
God, this guy is so fucking retarded. So bad.
I first want
Such
to
a
start
bad
by
actor.
thanking Lizzie for, just representing us, being on our home screens, being such an important part of this community for the last, God knows how long, and for
God
me,
knows how
more amazing
long.
rooms and conversations.
I
this
don't
past
even
month
know.
Than I could possibly
I'm a
be.
really bad CEO.
Just what an honor to have Lizzie
Wow.
be the face of the icon this past month. And, whether it's the latest cultural breakdowns or
Cultural
vulnerable conversations
breakdowns.
about
I'm
how
trying
we show up
so
in our
hard to get
clubhouse,
you guys
Maisie
excited
remains one of the greats.
about my
And so I
shitty
just
little
wanna say
app.
to the whole team, thank you so much, Maisie, for rep Clubhouse as the icon this past month.
I'm such a loser.
Today, with the new release,
Today we're gonna put
we have
blackface on another
month
person.
of September.
Who?
It's kind of hard to announce this month.
Oh, it's really hard. Let's see who we're gonna exploit today. We love to exploit our users. Let's see whose free picture we're gonna take instead of hiring a designer. Ghetto ass company.
Wildly inappropriate joke, and now months later, she's selling out comedy shows in cities across the country. She served as the host of the LA Rams Celebrity Game. She opened up for Dane Cook at the Cosmopolitan in Vegas last weekend.
This guy is so
I know,
pathetic.
Steph, you were there for that, which I was so jealous of.
She
Never
headlined
gets to have a
her
conversation
shows in
about it.
Phoenix this weekend. Yeah.
Oh, they're putting
It's
Leah.
amazing, right?
Amazing.
And she and Dane are doing a conversation right after Townhall, right?
They are. We'll get to that, but you
Okay,
teased it
they're
out,
having
so why
conversations
not?
about comedy in place on Clubhouse and Leah's journey, like right here in Clubhouse HQ, following Townhall. You know, like similar to Maisie, Leah has leveraged her audience on Clubhouse to help elevate her fellow performers. On, she does that on Hot on the Mic. If anyone isn't a member of Hot on the Mic, go to your hallway right now and search for Hot on the Mic and join that club. But it's there and far beyond there. You know, we always say at its best, Clubhouse brings people together, and it helps us make new friends. It helps people deal with loneliness and heartbreak and big situations and good times and bad times, and it's really about bringing people together.
Zowie!
She's a friend of
Tell
so
us
many
more,
people
Leave It
here.
to
We're
Beaver.
so thrilled that she's agreed to serve as this month's Clubhouse app icon. The icon itself, I thought it was really great. So if you don't have the latest version of the app yet, please go download that right now.
Get it.
And stick around after Townhall.
We're gonna be Leave It to Beaver.
Talk with Leah.
It's actually at 4. So you have some time.
Oh, I'm
Have
so
your
sorry.
families, grab
4
some
o'clock
lunch.
Pacific time?
And yeah, 4 o'clock Pacific.
Okay, so 6 hours after Townhall. My bad.
Wow. Zowie.
Um,
What a
so
Zowie.
anyway, Leah Lamarr.
Exciting moment.
So excited for that. Should we go into product?
I'm like a prepubescent little boy.
New product.
Can we do it?
We
Yay.
had a lot today. All right, the latest release is live right now, and that contains spatial audio on iOS. This is just an iOS release right now. The Android release will be coming this week. And again, sometimes we do iOS first, sometimes we do Android first. But the latest release on iOS, spatial audio, a bunch of small things, like a lot of like quote unquote boring but really important stuff under the hood to help us with improvements with logging and tracking, so that we can do just improve performance of the app and improve all sorts of under the hood stuff. The small thing that we mentioned, I think, in the release notes is when one of your friends follows you, we make it easy to follow them back directly from the notification screen. Made some fine-tuning changes to the onboarding and the new app icon. So really the big things are the app icon and spatial audio. But we have another release coming up this week, which is going to be bigger. And
Wow, it's gonna be all big. Everything's big. I'm overcompensating for my tiny dick and my shitty ability to
Over
lead.
the next few weeks in general, we're going to be doing a lot of work.
A lot of work.
To find and connect with clubs, with
Oh my
topics,
gosh.
with
We're
people,
doing so
really get
much,
set
you
up.
guys.
People come into Clubhouse,
Oh
they
my
jump into
gosh, I'm so
and,
excited.
like I was saying, like 700,000 rooms every day. We don't do a great job of helping you find the perfect ones for you, because we've just grown really quickly as a company, and we've been working to build out our team and get better and better at that. And it's been a huge focus of ours, and it's gonna be a really big focus over the next month. So this is things like making sure we understand what topics you're interested in, showing you some clubs that might be interesting to you right when you get done with onboarding. Small things like suggesting a username because you might not know which ones are available now. If you go to start a room and you don't have any followers because you just signed up, that's not going to be a great experience for you, but we don't really tell you that. So we want to help you, even if you're brand new to Clubhouse, help you know what you need to do to be successful. And a lot of this comes down to this sort of two-sided, marketplace isn't the right word for it, but you have people who want to find great clubs.
God, this guy is such a fucking loser. Such a fucking loser. This is so boring. I wish we could speed this up to 2 times speed because this guy is such a fucking loser. Everyone. This guy needs to stop the coke, dude. You smoke way too much crack, man. You sound like you smoke way too much fucking crack. Way too much crack. Way too much. It's just so bad. So bad. Awful acting. Only a loser could possibly take this fucking idiot seriously. This is so stupid.
So there's some other fun stuff in there that
no matter how much you go, yeah, about everything, you're still a loser.
Put that release out on iOS and Android.
Look at it.
Exact date TBD.
Jesus Christ. Lay off the cocaine, Paul Davison. Holy shit, you sound like a fucking prepubescent retard.
Halfway, so we'll see what we can do. All right. Gonna kick off, as usual, with some questions.
User questions. Leave it to Beaver's gonna turn to Cartman.
What tools?
Look at this retard. Oh no, I have to answer questions? I'm terrified of answering questions. I'm a loser.
And people. I'm interested in things that we as users may directly be able to control or change in our settings.
Okay. So I guess like on the creator side, we want to build stuff that helps people. There's a bunch of stuff that we're building on the creator side that I'm really excited about. That's going to help ensure that when you create great content, you're growing. But strictly on the user side, I will limit it since I know we don't have as much time as normal. A few things on the user side. Okay, one is we want to use topics more. Right now, if you don't know, you can go and you can go to your settings and you can say what topics you're interested in. We have a really small taxonomy right now. It's about 150 different topics. And you can say that you're interested in them. Clubs can also say, hey, in our club, we tend to cover these topics, and they can list up to 3 of them, I think. But we don't really use the topics too heavily, or historically we haven't used them too heavily in our ranking algorithms. That's starting to change. So the rooms that you see in your hallway are going to be more influenced by the topics that you follow. And what we really want to do is start to show you more suggestions for clubs that you might want to join based on the topics you're interested in, and people you might want to follow based on the topics you're interested in, events that you might want to follow based on the topics that you're interested in. And we're not doing this right now, but we'd like to expand that taxonomy because a lot of the most powerful connectors are the things that are a bit more niche, right? Like right now, music is a topic that's absurd. Like that's so broad, right? We want to really understand, like, if you're interested in bluegrass or some subgenre of EDM or something like that, right? So that we can connect you to other people who are interested in that. Maybe there aren't a lot of them. Maybe there are only 17 of them on Clubhouse or 200 of them. But if you find them, that's magical. Can you imagine walking into that room with a small group of people who are deeply passionate about some relatively obscure thing that you're passionate about? So we want to have more ways for you to find people whose interests match your own. The starting point is topics, but there are other things we want to do there. So club suggestions are the next thing that we're going to be rolling out. So you're starting to see those in your hallway right now, and those are going to be improving. But really, like, based on what we know about you, what you've chosen to tell us about you, here are some clubs that we think you might find interesting. And that could include topics, but it could also include, like, your friends are people you follow have disproportionately joined this club, so you might find this club interesting, or other factors. Another thing we want to do is help inform your decision around whether you might want to follow someone or or join a club. And there are a few different things that we can do there, but it's really about showing you the right metadata. So if there's a club, we should show you how many people are members of that club. We should probably show you how often they host rooms. We should probably show you which people you follow are also members of this club. Maybe if it's an apply to join club, we show you the acceptance rate or something like that, so you can get a sense for how small or big this club is, or how likely you would be to get to be able to join if you applied. Maybe in the future, you can imagine we can make it easier for the club to show you past rooms that they've hosted, upcoming rooms they've hosted, all those sorts of things that would inform that decision that whether you should join this club or not. And on the user front, you can imagine it would be things like how many followers do they have, who are the people that you follow, who follow them, how often do they talk? Because a lot of times you might get a follow suggestion for someone who seems really interesting to you, but they're more of a listener, they're not a speaker. So we should help you understand that. And a lot more, but really that all falls into the bucket of informing the tap on the most important surfaces, like the carousels and the Explore tab and things like that. Another thing that we want to do, and we're debating whether we do this in September, is add more entry points for search. Right now you can't search rooms. If you go to your hallway and you tap on the search icon, you can search for clubs and you can search for people. Right, you just search and then you toggle between people and clubs, and a lot of people enter keywords and they find relevant clubs, but a lot of people don't because it's on a secondary screen. You have to tap and then you have to tap on another tab, so it's really buried and really hidden, and it also doesn't include live room search right now. So we'd like to add more entry points for search, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but those are probably some of the more important user-facing ones that are worth calling out.
So we're gonna do all of discovery. I feel like that's our.
It's so important. It's so important. We've been hiring some amazing people, and our discovery team's been doing a great job. So it's always really, really top of mind for us.
Absolutely, and a portion of that, of course, I think especially for international users, is language selection. So wanted to kind of go through 2 or 3 questions around languages. So first is, how can I change the languages that I am seeing in the hallway, for example, in the app? It used to be in English, which is my main language, and now I'm starting to see rooms in other languages that don't fall in my region. How can I fix this?
Interesting. Okay, so one thing is we are rolling out an explicit language selector, and I know it was we were rolling out to Android first because like I was saying, we do some iOS first, some Android first, and more of our non-US users are on Android, and that's where language issues tend to be most acute. So we rolled that out on Android first. Ron, do you know the status of the rollout for the language selector? Is that out to everyone, or is that still being rolled out right now?
I think on Android it's launching for everyone, but I don't know the status for iOS. I can check on that.
Is it already rolled out for everyone on Android?
I think so.
Okay. So if you're on Android, then you should be able to go to your profile, then tap to the settings, and then you can select what language rooms you want to see. And now the second part of that is we need to identify correctly the language of each room, and we infer it right now based on the room title and perhaps the designated languages of the speakers. I imagine that in the future we'll probably let people explicitly select the languages so we can have that data to use with the match. So it could be that there's a mismatch. Like we have seen a couple incidents recently where people were seeing more foreign language or more rooms in their feed that did not match their preferred language. And so if that's the case, then please let us know, because it's useful to have specific instances of this so we can debug it. And you can do that by just going to your settings and submitting feedback to us, or going into the room and reporting the room and telling us why. But really our goal is to make it so that we know all the languages that you want to see, and we only show you rooms in those language and that are in those language. So that's what I would say. If you're on Android, go make sure your language selection preferences are correct. If you're on iOS, then please give us a couple weeks to roll it out to you on iOS as well. And if you're seeing a mismatch between the languages you selected and the rooms, that probably means we did not properly infer the language of those rooms. So if you could report it, that would be really helpful, and we can fix it.
I think that actually, the language picker answers a little bit of the inputs to us, but there's some more questions around whether users would be able to add the languages that they understand or speak explicitly in their bio or user profile, so that would actually be surfaced to other people.
Yeah, I love that idea. And what I would say is you can just write that in the free text. We don't have it. We've tried to just make the profiles a free text blob, and a lot of things like name pronunciation, pronouns, things like that people have requested. We're like, yeah, that's a great idea. The reason we haven't built out all of these specialized fields on the profile is just because the free text allows people to do whatever they want to do. I guess you could. The counter argument for that is that if you have it as an explicit field, more people would think to add it there, right? Whereas today they probably have to see someone else do it and then emulate that, or just think to do it themselves. So I love the idea of having that on the profile, but in the meantime, I would just encourage you to include it in the bio.
All right, and then I think an important one: when do you expect the app will be modified or translated for all other countries?
Oh man, this is a hot topic. So, the thing that we always deal with is we have dozens and dozens and dozens of big things that we want to ship, that we want to build, and we have limited resources. And so we're working to hire as fast as we can. We've our team is like 10 times bigger than it was in January, which is great, but we're still a small team. And we have to ruthlessly prioritize and ship really fast so we can do all of this stuff as soon as possible. Localizing the app into other languages is really, really important. So we've been debating when exactly that can get slotted in. But my hope would be October. But there's a bunch of other stuff that we're prioritizing against, and that's sort of my best guess right now. And the reason it hasn't been more of like a P0 priority is that the app actually works reasonably well because it's all audio. So even in the early days, we didn't even have language filtering in the feed, which is crazy. Like you could download the app in Japan and see all rooms in Russian and Arabic because we didn't have any language filtering. But the graph clusters work reasonably well. So there could be a cluster with rooms of 5,000 German speakers, and I wouldn't even know about it because it lives in a different part of the graph where more people disproportionately tend to be German speakers. And so it kind of, like a lot of user-generated content platforms, work reasonably well without being localized. It's really more the App Store description and the onboarding and some of that stuff, but that's really important. So we want to make sure we do that. Because of the way our code is architected, it's not a trivial project. It'll probably take the better part of a month, and so we're trying to see if we can get that in sometime around October.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of quick questions. We've had obviously big clubs updates and back channels recently, so still getting in some questions and requests, which is great. So for clubs, can an option be added for club founders to remove any scheduled event with their club? For example, a member put an event on the calendar which we do not want to be an approved room. How could we potentially remove that event?
Yes, this can be done, and it will be done, and it just barely missed this release.
You were such a faggot, dude.
Like Patty was telling me, it was so close, we almost got it in this release, but it didn't quite make it, so it'll be in, I believe, later this week. And just so you know, if you're the admin of a club, you can configure it so that any member is allowed to start a room.
Why does this guy sound like he's taking a shit during this entire thing?
The admins and leaders can do it. And it sounds like this club has it put so that any member can do it, which is good. If you're creating a community, you want a lot of people to be able to create rooms. That's amazing. But sometimes there could be a bad actor who puts a room there that isn't in the right spirit of the club. So what you should do is decide whether you want to remove that person from the club, and then starting later this week, you'll also be able to remove any events like that from the calendar, so they're not visible to people. But just to spend a second on that, we really love the idea of empowering people as moderators of rooms and as admins of clubs to manage their membership and the way they bring people together, the way that they see fit. So rather than thinking Clubhouse, we always say the world's not a monoculture. Clubhouse should not be one either. And rather than having hard and fast rules about how you come together, what we want to do is say, creator first. If you're the creator of the room, you're the creator of a club, then you're in control. And so if you don't want someone in your room, you can remove them from the room. If you don't want someone in your club, you can remove them from the club. You can set up the rules that you want. And before people come up on stage, they have to tap through and agree to your rules. And if people don't abide by your rules, then you can remove them. And so that's a really, really important philosophical part of how we're building Clubhouse. We want to empower you. So I'd encourage this person to decide whether they want to remove that person from the club. And then, again, they'll be able to remove the event later this week.
All right. On back channel, when would there be an option to unsend a message? That's question one. And possibly to have read receipts on for back channel messages. That's question two.
We don't have those planned right now. I think obviously the thing with unsending messages is you either have to impose a delay so that, like, if I had unsend, the question is, well, has the person already seen my message? There are kind of two different types of unsend. It's like I sent an email, and then I think, oh no, I didn't mean to CC that person, or I forgot to include the attachment, and I can unsend it before they receive it, before it goes into their inbox. Or you can say, well, I've already sent it, they've already seen it, but now I just want to resend it so that it's not in their inbox anymore. And the challenge with the first one is the way that you might do it is you might, under the hood, you might delay actually sending the message and sending the push notification to someone for 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever the unsend window is going to be. But with real-time chat, that really hurts it, right? Because you can't get quick responses because you have to wait 30 seconds every time you send a message to notify anyone. So that's not a good experience. So you'd have to fine-tune it. It's not something that people have requested very often so far. And so it's not something we prioritize. I can imagine that we might do that in the future. I think I've heard of other services starting to roll that stuff out. And then in terms of read receipts, that seems to that makes more sense. I think read receipts are quite useful. I don't know what the status of read receipts is. If you know more, Rohan, please chime in. And if Patty or someone in the audience, or Daniel or someone, or Kate has knowledge of read receipts and what our plans are for that, then let me know. But I don't think that it's on the roadmap for the next couple of weeks.
We'll wait till we get our Slack back channels from the All right. Okay. Quick one on the events calendar. It'd be useful to have a way to see a weekly timetable for event schedules with Clubhouse. Rather than having a long list, the calendar can have the same format as the iPhone calendar, for example. So I think this is just like a zoomed out, week or month view. And the specific reason is they'd love to schedule their event without time conflicts with other popular shows. They just want an easy way to be able to look at a bird's eye view of what's going on at a particular time or date.
So this is kind of interesting. What events would you include in that calendar? Ones that are maybe ones that this is cool. You could do some pretty cool stuff here. You could do ones that your followers have or club members have RSVP'd to. So you can know if it's likely to be a conflict with your current audience. But that's the tricky thing, right? If you have hundreds of thousands of rooms going on every day, it's just going to be a mess if we show you all of them. So we have to pick the subset that are most likely to conflict. And I love that idea. Honestly, it's just not something that has ever it's not something that has ever risen to the top of our priority list. I kind of feel like what we should be able to do is just be smart about telling you when you should schedule your show or suggest some times that are good for you, kind of like calendar apps do, or like I think increasingly advertising platforms do this. They just kind of say, just trust us, you should target it this way, and that's going to be the best thing for you, and they kind of abstract away the complexity. So I love that idea, because you're kind of just taking a guess, right? If you're trying to decide when to host a good room, you know the times that are generally more popular, but the times that are generally more popular, call it 4 to 9 p.m. Pacific or something like that, they tend to be more competitive in the sense that there are more other shows happening at the same time. And sometimes you put a bunch of time into a good event, and then another big event just happens. Some public figure just opens a room 5 minutes before yours, and it's a hard thing to control. So I guess all I would say is I love this idea. We would have to decide which other rooms to show you there and how to define what a conflict might be. And I think there's a lot of other stuff that we could do here to help you succeed as a creator. We don't have that on the roadmap for the next couple weeks, but I think it's something we'll be thinking about a lot more over the coming months.
All right, this is going to be a tempting one to. Well, here I'll let you run with this one. Can you add live texting to the room?
What does that mean? Like,
I think it's live chat.
Like live chat visible to everyone?
Yeah, in-room live chat. I know we have opinions about this.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes, we do.
I'm always open to being wrong on this stuff, but I don't think I don't want to do that. And we've talked about it a lot as a product team internally. And here's my take on it. Rohan and I, we kind of said in the early days of Clubhouse, we kind of had this realization that there are going to be times where the wishes of the creator, like the speaker, the host of the room, are going to be at odds with the wishes of a listener or a would-be listener. And the canonical example here is like, I know you're hosting a room, I want to be in your room and you don't want me there, or I want to come up on stage and speak my mind and you don't want me to. We decided early on in every situation like that, we were going to pick you. We're going to prioritize the speaker. We're going to prioritize the creator, the host. I think if you do that, you end up making good decisions for the platform that benefit everyone in the long term, even if a listener might not like it in the near term. And part of that is we really want to make sure that Clubhouse is a place where people aren't dunking on you and trolling you and just saying terrible things about you while you're talking. That would be really distracting. It would be a really bad experience. I think we get enough of that elsewhere, and we want Clubhouse to be a more human place on the internet where you always feel comfortable and like you can be challenged, you can have hard conversations, but you're always in control. And I think if we had just a constant in-room chat, I worried that would just be an abuse factor and it would be bad for the creator. So if you want to have a back channel with your friends and you want to talk while you're all in the audience of a room, that's great. You should do that. If you want to have a back channel as a moderator, that's great. You should do that. But what we don't want to do is create this space where people can just come and just troll you and dunk on you and make fun of you while you're talking, because that's the terrible experience. Why would you want that? So that's why we don't have it right now, because we really want to put you as the creator, as the speaker first, and allow you to just have authentic conversations without worrying about that stuff.
All right, I want to do lightning round, 7 questions.
Okay.
7 minutes.
I can do this.
Okay. What tips can you give to the Spanish-speaking content creator community? We could use some support with attracting new users. Are there any suggestions for what to include in our room titles or descriptions to appeal to new users?
Do you want to take this one since you just authored the creator comments?
Ooh, specific to attracting new users, I know we're doing some work on that.
A lot of work.
Yeah, we're going to need to do product work on that, I think, specifically. And so, for example, our new user onboarding, we really try to attract new users to that. But I think the main things, for new users, they probably haven't followed a lot of clubs. They probably haven't followed as many people. So, one would be as descriptive as you can be in your title about what is happening in the room. I think that's very helpful. I think 2, in general, is to be, when new users come in, be very welcoming to them. I know that's not really about hallway appeal, but I do think it does help because people can get a sense of, whether that room is more like a, small panel that's broadcasting, or really inclusive of a lot of people coming up to speak, which I think new users are generally excited to get in and participate in the conversation. So we have to keep this under 1 minute, so I'm going to stop it with those two things. But
make sure you tag your club with the appropriate topics.
Right.
Make sure you set your language settings to Spanish now if you're on Android and on iOS in the coming weeks. Make sure you do work to promote it off Clubhouse, so grab a link and share it with anyone you want. And all the guidelines in the Creator Commons that apply to they apply to everyone regardless of language, so do that. And then the other thing is hold tight, because we're going to be doing a lot of work on this front over the next month that's going to help you.
All right. I'd like to run a big conference on Clubhouse with multiple rooms throughout a 1-week period. Will Clubhouse roll out a system where I guess they said silo, but I think maybe have like a separate view for my conference, so my guests won't be able to see any other rooms in the hallway. So it's almost like, an independent instance for the conference.
Yeah, that's a super cool idea. We don't have that on the roadmap right now. You can make them all private members of the club, but they would, in today's version of the app, they would see other rooms too. So I love the idea. I really appreciate the idea. We don't have plans to support it right now.
All
We're
right.
not opposed to it. It's just not on our priority set right now.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about this, with private clubs and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the Creator Commons is great. Promise I didn't put this one in here. Is there a way... The question...
Anu is so cool. Is there a way that you could...
Is there a way to also show these resources in the app, or make it available in back channel via a support bot to help users?
Oh, that's a
great, thoughtful,
cool
good
idea.
question.
Yeah, step one would be to link to it from your settings, probably, right?
Yep.
I think that's a great idea. We should do that.
I think when we rolled out DMs, we sent people messages, like through the through the back channel. I think that's where this question was inspired from.
Why don't we take it offline? That's a great idea. We just want to be really careful and targeted and not send people too many messages from us. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it offline. I think it's a great idea.
All right, keeping the pace moving.
I'm trying to keep going.
Sorry. I know. I really want to interject.
You gotta go.
I'll stop.
I want to hear it stuff.
That's just sabotage.
I'm trying so hard to keep to our time.
We used to always call ourselves support bots. When Anu and I would be manning the emails to support, we called ourselves support bots. Yes, that was 1 year ago.
That was 8 months ago. Geez.
Would you consider hiding the followers and following count?
Yeah. I think followers and following is useful, but flawed, right? So what we want to do is help you decide whether to follow someone, and they're also useful for discovery. But I think we could do discovery in other ways. So what I think we would just need to do is have a better way of helping you decide whether you should follow someone, and I would love to come up with a better metric than that.
When will we be able to place links in our bios, for example, to websites or other online profiles to help meet people?
We have talked about this pretty recently. I think that would be a good thing. And the question is, how do you prevent spam and abuse? And you could certainly start you could do it in a gradual way. I mean, in theory, we have 2 links right now. You can have your Instagram, you can have your Twitter. I guess the short answer is hopefully soon. And it is something that we're actively talking about. We just need to make sure that we're very thoughtful about safety issues like spam and malware, and make sure that we've got the capabilities in place for that.
All right. 15-second answers on these. Would you ever consider sending a short survey to all users of Clubhouse to see what drives them to use it? My guess is most people are here for community, and I guess our suggestion related to this is, would you consider charging a monthly subscription fee to keep the quality high?
I think that most people are here for community also, and we're really excited about features that help you have community and social rooms and friends and small group conversations. That's just so you know, like philosophically, we're totally aligned with that. I think it can serve the whole spectrum, from small private conversations to big public shows, and I think there's huge value in all of those. And I think that middle ground, the community ground, is probably the most interesting piece. So totally agree with you on that. And I think we have that. We want to be very careful about doing surveys and all of that. We want to get user feedback, but we also don't want to bother people, so we have to do it the right way. And then charging people, we considered that when we started Clubhouse X. We considered making the whole thing a subscription service. It's just really important to our mission that it's available to everyone, regardless of their economic situation. And so what we would like to do is have it be available to the whole world, but allow club founders to charge for their clubs if they want to be able to do that, and to curate their clubs if they want to be able to do that, and make sure that we can help you find your people and find your communities in ways that don't require everyone to pay a monthly fee.
All right, last one. Would it be possible to keep new members' accounts inactive until they have, number one, added a minimal amount of bio information, and or number two, included at least one verified social to help give people better signals of who they are?
Oh, that's very interesting. So I guess people naturally, you get called, you're way, way, way more likely to get called on and followed if you have a bio and a photo and verified accounts. We see this in the data. It is crazy how much of a difference that makes. So I think what we'd like to do is kind of do it in a softer way, where we strongly encourage people to fill these things out. We communicate that you're much more likely to be successful. If you try raising your hand and you don't have a bio or a photo, we should probably say, heads up, you're way more likely to get called on if you have a bio or a photo. And then I think that we want to do a better job of helping you as a moderator in a room select the best people to come up on stage who are most likely to have to be able to contribute to the conversation that you're hosting. So I love the spirit of this question, and I think we want to do it, and we want to approach it from multiple different angles, in kind of softer ways that aren't strictly limiting, but that also have the same effect.
All right. I think we're almost up on time, so we'll skip pro tips. Do you want to do a couple of quick requests for shows and then close it out?
Yeah, we'll do some quick requests for shows. What do we have? Okay. One thing that we've been talking about is high-profile trials. People who are following and recapping high-profile trials. Like the Elizabeth Holmes Theranos trial starts at the end of this month. A bunch of people have been talking about that. I'd love to see, it'd be really fun to see rooms where people do the, daily recap and discussion around that, because that's something that's really fun and sort of community-driven that we've been talking about. One thing that's obviously top of mind is disaster prep and aftermath experts doing Q&A, and just giving us the help that we need to be better educated and better prepared for things like that. And obviously fun new formats with spatial audio. We mentioned ghost stories, but I think I've just always believed if you give people the tools, they just come up with stuff that you never even would have imagined. And so I'm excited to see what people do with that. And that's just my quick. It's already 10 o'clock. Top of mind request for shows, but that's what I would say. Following recapping high-profile trials, disaster prep, and aftermath with experts, and whatever you can dream up with spatial audio.
Plus 100 to that.
All right. That's
Banter.
Thank you so much, everyone, for spending a bit of your Sunday with us. Let's see what's next. We've got they're a group of filmmakers who are hosting a deep dive in a dissection of the new Nia DaCosta directed Candyman horror movie in the Horror Club. So if you're not following or you're not a member of the Horror Club, go to your hallway, tap on the search icon, and go there. Also check out shows like Jury Duty, Positively Sex, Spatial Recognition Comedy, Food Port Trading Desk, Comedy Chords to experience spatial audio in all its glory during this week. And as I mentioned before, a little bit later today, 4 p.m. Pacific time, so 6 hours from now,
everyone can come join us and get to know our new Clubhouse icon, Leah Lamarr, as she will be interviewed and maybe a little bit roasted by Dane Cook. And this will be run out of the Clubhouse HQ Club. So tap the green house at the top of this room and join Clubhouse HQ if you want to get notified when that is happening. And that's it for us. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and hope to talk more soon.
Thanks, everyone. Happy Sunday.
See you at 4.